Welcome back, first graders. It's me again, Mrs. Lamb. We're here for CKLA Listening and Learning, Domain 2, the human body. Today, we're going to read a story called Dr. Wellbody's Heroes. Have you ever heard the word vaccination before? You have? Good. Well, a vaccination is a type of shot that's given to healthy people. I know, right? Well, today, listen carefully to find out how vaccinations work to help prevent or stop diseases. Did you know that doctors have heroes too? I'm going to tell you about two of my heroes, both brave germ fighters. Their names are Edward Jenner and Louis Pasteur. Jenner was a doctor. Pasteur was a scientist. Both lived long ago. Their work made this world a safer place for all of us. So germs are all around us. These tiny living things are so small that you can see them only by looking through a special type of instrument called a microscope. Have you ever heard of a microscope before? Cool. So, you can only see germs by looking through these microscopes. But even though you cannot see them, germs are everywhere. In the air we breathe, in the water we drink, and in the food we eat. Ugh. Most of the time, germs do not hurt us. Some germs even help us, like the ones in our intestines that kill off harmful germs and help us digest our food. Other germs can make us sick. They can get into our bodies in different ways. Some creep in through insect bites or cuts in our skin. Others float in when someone sneezes nearby. Ugh. Still, others come from food that is poorly cleaned or undercooked. We have natural immunities in our bodies. That means our bodies have ways of fighting off germs on their own. But sometimes, that is not enough. This is why doctors and scientists are always working to find new ways to fight sicknesses, also called diseases. One very important way they fight diseases is by giving people medicines called vaccines. Vaccines give you immunity. That means they keep bad germs from harming you in the first place. That sounds like a really good idea to me. What do you think? I thought so. Before you get sick, you will get a vaccine. Doctors give vaccines by vaccinating people. That usually means giving a child or a grown-up a shot. Many people don't like getting shots because the needle stings a bit. I don't like getting shots. How about you? Yeah. Sometimes you cry. Me too. But vaccinations give us immunity to protect us from very terrible and harmful diseases like measles, mumps, flu, smallpox, and polio. Diseases that can make people very sick or even cause them to die. Long ago, people didn't know about germs. They did not understand what made people sick. They did not know how important it was to wash your hands, eat clean food, and to drink clean water. Well, I know we know now, but we haven't always known this. They didn't know how to protect themselves from getting bad germs in their bodies. Sometimes thousands of people at a time would die from a disease or germs that spread quickly from one person to another. About 200 years ago, an English doctor discovered something amazing. He discovered a way to keep people from getting one of the most terrible diseases in the world. A disease called smallpox. That's why you haven't heard of it, because of his work. Edward Jenner, one of my heroes, invented the first vaccine. Dr. Jenner was living in a country village in England. There were many farms all around. He knew what the farmers in his village knew. People who milked cows sometimes got a disease called cowpox. The disease made blisters on their hands, but it was not a serious disease. People got over it quickly. Dr. Jenner also noticed that the people who got cowpox almost never came down with smallpox, which was a much worse disease and often killed people or left horrible scars on their skin. He thought that cowpox might give people protection from smallpox. Makes sense, okay. So after a lot of thinking and studying, Dr. Jenner decided to test his idea. He decided to give a healthy boy a small amount of the cowpox germs. The boy got sick from the cowpox, just as Dr. Jenner thought he would. Then after the boy got better, Jenner gave the boy a small amount of the smallpox germ. Just as Jenner hoped, the boy did not get smallpox. Dr. Jenner, this brave germ fighter, created the first vaccine in the whole world. From then on, people were vaccinated with cowpox so that they would have immunities to smallpox later on. Many years later, because the smallpox vaccine was being used all around the world, smallpox disappeared. Like I said, that's why you haven't heard of it. But Dr. Jenner did not understand exactly how the vaccination had worked. It was up to other doctors and scientists to find out. Another germ fighter and another one of my heroes is Louis Pasteur. Louis Pasteur was born in France a year after Dr. Jenner died. As a boy, he worked very hard in school and was very curious. Sounds like a lot of you guys. Always asking lots of questions. When he grew up, he became a science professor teaching at a university. University is another name for a college. You may have heard either one of these words before. He was also a medical researcher, someone who tries to find out what causes diseases and how they can be cured. Using a microscope, Pasteur saw that liquids like milk and fruit juice contain tiny living things called germs. Some of these germs cause the milk or juice to spoil or go bad. Pasteur discovered that he could kill the harmful germs by heating the liquid to a high temperature. Heating liquids this way to get rid of germs became known as pasteurization. Notice, pasteurization by Louis Pasteur. His name is in the process. That's something you get to do when you discover new things. Well, today, because of Pasteur's discovery, the milk we drink, as well as some other foods, are pasteurized to make them safe before you buy them. Just as important, Pasteur's work on pasteurization convinced other doctors and scientists that germs are real and may cause diseases. People began to realize how important it was to keep harmful germs out of their food and water. But Pasteur didn't stop there. He continued Jenner's work with vaccines, working to discover how to prevent many more diseases. One of the vaccines he developed fought rabies, a very dangerous disease that often kills humans. Pasteur had been working on the rabies vaccine for quite a while when a 9-year-old boy was badly bitten by a dog. The dog was carrying rabies, and Dr. Pasteur thought his new vaccine would help the boy. Dr. Pasteur's vaccine worked, and he was hailed as a hero. He led the way for other scientists to make vaccines for many other diseases. I'm pretty sure that little boy was happy too. What do you think? So today, once you are vaccinated against a disease, you become immune to it and no longer have to be afraid of catching it. There are still diseases like malaria and cancer for which scientists have not yet found the right vaccine, but they are working hard at it. New vaccines will be discovered by other germ fighters. If you study medicine or science and become a researcher, that germ fighter could even be you. So if you are a scientist, you'll discover something new, and you could be a germ fighter who is a hero too. Well, that's all I have for you today, guys. Well, I really enjoyed hearing about Dr. Wellbody's heroes. I have some questions for you, but let's take a brain break first. Are you ready? Okay, so I have some more wiggle cards, and I'm gonna show you the card, and then I'll read it to you, and we're gonna do what the card says, okay? All right, so first, let's start smiling. Awesome smiles. Let's keep going. How about, ooh, this is a fun one. I'm gonna show it to you and then I'm gonna read it. Act like a robot. Let me see your best robot. Let me see if I can do it too. Well, your robot's a little bit better than mine. Okay, let's see what else I have for you. How about flap your arms like a hawk? All right, here we go. You gotta flap just a little bit slow because they're such big birds. You wanna give them a nice big wingspan. Phew. All right, so last one. Last one, you ready? Okay, so let's take a deep breath. All right, here we go. Let's do one more. Whew. All right, well, now that our brains are all stretched out, let's go ahead and answer some questions. My first question. So we learned that germs are tiny living things found everywhere. Air, food, water, everywhere. We also learned that some germs are good, but others make you sick. How do they get into your bodies? How do those bad germs get into your bodies? Excellent, I heard some awesome answers out there. So what I heard was that from cuts, if you have cut in your skin, germs can get in that way. I also heard from not washing your hands, okay. And the last one I heard was from unclean food. So dirty food, dirty hands, and cuts are ways germs can get into your body. Okay, so you said. We also heard that healthy bodies are able to fight many germs on their own because of natural immunities. What's another way to give their body immunities to fight against germs? What other way did we learn about? This one means you have to go to the doctor. Yes, you're right, you get a shot, but that is the process of putting it into your body. It's called vaccines. That's what's in the shot, the vaccines. So question 3, what is the name of the man who created the first vaccine? Which hero did we hear about today that created the first vaccine? Wow, you remembered his name, awesome. And his name was Edward Jenner. Do you remember how he did it? I want you to think about that one for a minute so you can think about it. If you have someone nearby, pair up with them and talk about it, and you'll share with me in just a minute. I'm gonna write his name on the board, okay? Okay, so tell me again, how did Edward Jenner invent the first vaccine? Yep, you're right. So he infected a boy with cowpox, which made him a little bit sick, and when he got better, he infected him with smallpox, and he didn't get sick. Now, he didn't just pick a random little boy. He did a lot of research and asked and answered a lot of questions before he did this, which is why he's a hero for us today. All right, let's look at the next question. It says, Louis Pasteur continued Edward Jenner's work with vaccines. What disease was Louis Pasteur fighting when he gave his vaccine to a boy with a dog bite? What did the little boy that had been bitten by a dog have? You're right, and you did some excellent paying attention today. He had rabies, and rabies is very scary, but luckily, because of Louis Pasteur's work, there is a vaccine for it. So last question. Louis Pasteur also discovered that germs could be killed through a process known as pasteurization, which is where liquids are heated to a high temperature to kill germs. How is the process of pasteurization important to your life? I know that's a heavy question. So we're talking about liquids being heated to kill germs. How is that important to you? Great job. It makes your food safe, specifically milks and juices, usually ones made out of fruit. So pasteurization is important to your life because it makes your food safe. You are doing amazing. I do want to practice a word with you today that we heard, and that word was diseases. Say the word diseases with me. Diseases. Good job. Now, Diseases are sicknesses or illnesses, things that harm our bodies from the inside, not as a result of accident or physical injuries. One of the most common diseases often present in winter months is influenza, or you've probably heard it referred to as the flu. I have some examples for you, and I want you to tell me that is not a disease or that is a disease. Okay, are you ready? Excellent. Jimmy's grandfather is going through treatment for cancer. That is a disease or that is not a disease? That is a disease, and unfortunately, a kind of scary one that maybe you germ fighters will be able to find a cure for one day. Let's try another example. Sharon's mother gave birth to a baby girl. That is a disease or that is not a disease? Great, that is not a disease. They might be tired, but it's not a disease. Terrence just turned 7 years old and is having his regular wellness checkup with his pediatrician. That is a disease or that is not a disease? That is not a disease. Great job. That's him staying healthy. All right. Mr. Walker has a severe case of the flu. That is a disease or that is not a disease? That is a disease. I hope Mr. Walker feels better soon. And the last one, Carol fell off her bike and broke her leg. That is a disease or that is not a disease? You're right, that is not a disease. Like we said before, diseases are not caused by accidents. It's going to take Carol some time to heal, but she'll be okay. So just a reminder, we talked about the word diseases today, and we talked about some amazing germ fighters. And I hope to see some wonderful germ fighting done by you. But that's all we have time for today.